Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Hi everyone, it is once again my honor to sit in this chair and talk with you about Descendants of Zombies and moments that have been created because of Freya Skye. Her latest single, Silent Treatment, is a song that I love so much, and I have recorded more reaction videos and reviews about Silent Treatment than any other YouTube creator has in the last at least 48 hours. The reason behind why I've created so many Freya Skye videos, and you will find a lot of Freya Skye content in my archives, is because I love her just as much as each and every one of you do, and I think her love and support is truly undeniable coming from fans. So because the love and support that Freya Skye has received is truly undeniable coming from fans, she deserves to be respected, and she deserves to be showcased and talked about in a way that no other YouTube creator ever could. So if you would do me the honor of joining me over the next 20 minutes, I promise you that I will show your favorite star the justification and the honor and the respect that she has forever and always deserved. That is my promise from my heart to yours, that I will never do wrong by your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, and I will always do right by them, which means coming through for them every single time, which means every single time they cry, every single time they're in doubt of their life, every single time they don't know what to expect next, every single time they feel as if they're not exceeding the expectations of every critic they've ever had, which means I will stand up and proudly take bullets for not only your favorite stars like Kylie and Freya and Ruby. I will take bullets for each and every one of you up against these critics, because we are seeing far too many critics having uploaded videos about Descendants of Zombies and all these incredible moments that they've been a part of over the last decade, which has been an incredible decade, not only because I had the chance to talk about Descendants of Zombies, but I had the honor of meeting so many wonderful people who felt inspired by Descendants of Zombies and took something special away from the franchises they love so much. I mean, how many of you went to the Worlds Collide tour and you felt as if you were a part of something special? If you say yes, that you were a part of something special because of the Worlds Collide tour, and you collect the dolls and all the Descendants of Zombies merch that goes with it, there is nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. So no critic has the right to try to take that away from you, to try to tear down what you've built up over the last 10 years, because I think everybody's waiting on a franchise or franchises when you talk about Descendants of Zombies together to inspire people, to take something special away from. And I think there is somebody out there watching these videos every day who blasts the Descendants of Zombies soundtracks in their house every day. They have their windows open when they're getting ready for school, they're doing their hair, they're picking out their outfit, and they're listening to their favorite Descendants of Zombies song. So because of that, I have this to say to each and every one of you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for representing Descendants of Zombies the way that you have, and forever and always never forget that there is nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because you guys made me the person that I am today. Because of you, undeniably and unbeknownst to each and every one of you, more people on YouTube know who Jonathan Clarke is. More people have heard my voice. And that is exactly what I wanted to have happen, because I've always wanted to leave behind a legacy. I have never ever wanted to be forgotten, because that's my greatest fear. And I think that's the greatest fear of everybody, because they want to get the most out of life. And the same logic applies to each and every one of your favorite zombie stars. They don't want to hear about their political point of view, having been ending up in conversations which have nothing to do with their profound success. They don't want to hear about their relationships discussed and who may have ghosted them or who may have treated them unfairly, like we get from the Silent Treatment single, which implies a lot about Freya Skye and the pain that she's feeling. I get that. But I think if we take more of a chance on Freya Skye than ever before and really try to make a consistent effort to try to understand Freya perhaps better than anybody, I think more respect will be obtained by everybody who's been a part of this fan base, who's been a part of this community. Because I think we understand where Freya is coming more than we ever give ourselves credit for having done, and we think about the same situations that we may be caught up within. Because everybody gets ghosted. At one point or another, somebody is ghosting us without any explanation having been offered, and they unexplainably just vanish from our life. Last year, actually, that happened to me. I was in contact with somebody, and then they just unexplainably vanished for no particular reason, without even giving me reason whatever. And, you know, what I realized is, obviously, they just probably wanted to achieve more out of life. I didn't hold them accountable for it. I didn't think they were a bad person because they made that decision. They obviously had their reason for kind of just ghosting me, and I just let it be what it was. And you know something? I went on to achieve something far greater. I went on to achieve the honor of being your voice of Descendants of Zombies. You know, I could have spent the rest of my life with that person, but having the chance to spend the rest of my life as the host of this show with each and every one of you has become the greatest honor of my life, because there is no place in the world I would rather be. I think in every situation and every experience that we encounter in our lifetime that we probably can never make sense of, something far greater is planned for us. And I think it's all about us discovering it and just having the chance to be a part of it. And I think this is what this song teaches us more than ever before. I can't even begin to tell you how many people have come into my life and unexplainably ghosted me for no explanation being given to me whatsoever. But even though that happens to me, that doesn't mean that I'm not a bad person. That means that I just have more to achieve, and I had the honor of doing that because of each and every one of you. I wanted to touch your hearts for how I felt about Descendants of Zombies. You guys had the chance to share with me your stories about how you became a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because this summer we all felt as if we were a part of something special. We wanted to be a part of something special. And I saw that in every video that a fan may have uploaded about the Worlds Collide Tour. They may not have been the most professional videos that I've ever seen, because not everybody is a professional YouTube creator like yours truly, but the video showcased your outfits, you showcased how passionate you were about the Worlds Collide Tour, how excited you were to attend the Worlds Collide Tour, and it was so fun for each and every one of you. I remember the first time over 30 years ago I went to see the WWF, and I was a really big fan of The Undertaker. And when I went to see The Undertaker for the first time ever in November of 1996, which was 30 years ago this year, this past November, I thought I had the world. There's nothing that could touch me. There's nothing that could separate me from being a part of this miraculous moment where I saw these larger-than-life characters perform in a 20 by 20 foot ring. And at that moment, I wanted to become a professional wrestling podcast host, and I did that. It may have taken me years to become a professional wrestling podcast host, but I had the honor of spending many years of my career having the honor to meet so many of my heroes and interview so many of my idols that I've grown up ever since the age of 10 years old surrounding myself with. And through that, I got to hear their stories. I got to share my experiences about being a wrestling fan. And that was the greatest honor of my life. And then years later, I became an entertainment podcast host, never knowing how many people were going to have the chance to hear my voice, how many people were going to have the chance to hear my stories that I got to share with each and every one of you because of Descendants of Zombies. Because Descendants of Zombies is really a passion that you have to discover. And, years later, after people asked me, what I wanted to achieve out of my career, I wanted to go home and achieve something more. And when I had the chance to go home and achieve something more and create my own podcast, as opposed to being a host of a podcast where I was the co-host, where I had to kind of put over the host of the show because of what they were talking about and what they wanted to represent their show for, having been the sponsors, what have you, who they were interviewing, I wanted to achieve more. Because you guys showed me the good that existed because of Descendants of Zombies and how much a franchise would mean to everybody's heart. So I think the best thing to do is to talk about it in a way that it actually touches your heart in the same way that it's touched mine. Because from the first time I ever heard the song Rotten to the Core, I knew it was something special. I knew these characters were going to go on to represent something so spectacular and something that we could actually marvel in, unlike anything that we ever had the chance to review ever before. I think that we took more of a chance on people like Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson than many people probably wanted us to. When I talk about critics like people from Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.com, who could never post enough reviews about criticism seen about your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars. But you know something? I wanted to give this more of a chance than ever before. Because I knew there were people out there that were passionate about the Descendants of Zombies merch, that were passionate about collecting the dolls. I don't have to know you to know that you're a good person. I can see that you're a good person from every video that you've ever uploaded for how you showcase your passions for Descendants of Zombies. And that can come in many forms. That can come in forms of how you're passionate about collecting the dolls or the hoodies or the sweatshirts. Because I got to tell you guys something. How people reviewed the Descendants of Zombies Worlds Collide Tour merch was absolutely unacceptable. It was really ridiculous. The quality of the merchandise apparently, I know because I seen and I heard it all, didn't live up to the criteria of somebody who spent over $500 for the VIP experience or attending the Worlds Collide Tour. It didn't live up to their expectations. It did anything but exceed any expectations they had. But I got to tell you guys something. From what I saw of the Worlds Collide Tour merch, talking about the hoodies and the sweaters and the t-shirts, it kind of put me in mind of those Hannah Montana jackets years ago. The Hannah Montana jackets may not have been the best, but they were wanted by everybody. And everybody sacrificed so much to get their hands on a Hannah Montana jacket. Regardless of the color, regardless of its layout, regardless of the vibe you got from wearing a Hannah Montana jacket. Being a Hannah Montana jacket wearer was cool. And if you weren't a Hannah Montana jacket wearer, what were you? How were you going to represent yourself? How were you going to be a part of a generation that was meant to be something special? So I think that if a child wants to wear a Descendants of Zombies jacket or a Descendants of Zombies hoodie, they shouldn't be subjected to criticism because they want to wear the Descendants of Zombies hoodie. I'm almost 40 years old, and you know something? If I had the chance to wear a Descendants of Zombies hoodie to represent each and every one of you on this show, because I don't have any sponsors yet, but if I had the chance to wear it, I would be more than proud to wear it for each and every one of you. And you can bet your last dime that if I was going to say anything about the quality of the merchandise, I would be trying to sell more hoodies than ever before. Because you guys deserve to have your favorite stars talked about in a way they deserve to be talked about. You guys deserve to have your favorite stars put on display and be showcased for who they truly are. Because they are just like each and every one of us. So when it comes to reviewing singles like Freya, Skye's Silent Treatment, I think we should be trying to understand where Freya is coming from, as opposed to wondering who hurt her in her lifetime, because more than one person has hurt Freya. We should try to understand the meaning of the song rather than saying, okay, Freya Skye's obviously experiencing a lot of pain and heartbreak, because I think every girl is represented through this song in some way or another. It's just many of them don't choose to admit to it because of just how people have treated them unfairly. I think this happens to everybody. And I think from the very first moment everybody heard this song, they knew they were a part of something special. And they wanted to be a part of something special for forever, because for the first time ever, a girl of this generation, who was the next Disney pop star undeniably, made you feel as if you were part of something special. So what gave somebody the right to record a 12-minute reaction video where they said nothing but bad things about the song in the way of a review? I think that because this song relates to people, this is why this song has recorded over 48,000 links. This is why this song's gotten over 1 million downloads in 48 hours off Spotify and iHeartRadio, because of each and every one of you. It had everything to do with how you guys represented Freya, how you believed in her so much, and I think more of a chance needs to be taken on her than ever before. And the people who can't understand where Freya is coming from, well then obviously they're not true Descendants of Zombies fans. Because the majority of these reaction videos that are uploaded about Descendants of Zombies aren't themed around the concept of Descendants of Zombies. So as a result of their channel not being themed around the concept of Descendants of Zombies, they don't understand where Descendants of Zombies fans are coming from and how Descendants of Zombies feel about the response they give all the time to the product. But because this YouTube channel has forever and always dedicated itself to each and every one of you, there's a greater understanding and an appreciation, much less, for Descendants of Zombies, because I can talk about it for hours, which I wish I could have had the opportunity to do years ago, but because of the limitations on YouTube, because it was coming into its own, showcasing so many new advancements, because you could go 4K, you could go live, eventually you had more opportunities with YouTube than ever before. When it was first introduced, I was unable to do it. But I have felt so honored to have joined you over this last 10 years and been able to talk about Descendants of Zombies in the way that I forever and always meant to talk about it. Because I think that if we're going to talk about Dove Cameron, if we're going to talk about Sophia Carson and their contributions to Descendants of Zombies, which I'll be doing later on today, I think we have to make more of an effort to really understand where the fan is coming from and how the fan feels. Because I know that you're watching this video because you were excited for December 2nd to come. You were excited because of what Freya Skye had happening for her, how honored she felt to share in these moments with each and every one of you, just like back at the Worlds Collide Tour. So I know there was a critic in every crowd at the Worlds Collide Tour. So you know how that made me feel? That made me feel as if I wanted to be in the Worlds Collide Tour crowd just to have the honor to meet each and every one of you, to shake your hand, to sign autographs for you guys, because you guys may have watched my YouTube show, because of course I was hyping up the Worlds Collide Tour more than anybody else ever could. Have you guys come up to me and say, hey, you're Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. And you know, I would have been there to do anything but review the Worlds Collide Tour with criticism. I would have been there to review the Worlds Collide Tour the way that it was forever and always meant to be reviewed, because I always wanted to be that announcer that would have said something like this: welcome to the Worlds Collide Tour. Gotta turn down that echo. I've always loved being a part of something special, and I think Descendants of Zombies Worlds Collide would have been something that I would have never ever forgotten. Now, I had the honor to watch it on YouTube like many people did, but I think many people watched it on YouTube with a lack of understanding and appreciation for what these characters had been through, what they came to represent, and what they came into their own because of. And what they came into their own because of had everything to do with each and every one of you, because they could identify with each and every one of you through the characters they portrayed. I mean, Kylie Cantrell did an outstanding job as Red. And this was a girl that received so much criticism because she wasn't Mal, because she didn't represent or feel the way that Mal did in the Descendants franchise, because everybody missed Mal. But I think as we took more of a chance on Kylie Control's character, we began to fall more in love with Kylie Control, and that's what made it so phenomenal being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Because being a fan of Descendants of Zombies simply put is cool. I mean, if you're not a fan of Descendants of Zombies, then what are you a fan of? Now, I know a lot of people feel very passionate about a lot of different things like Halloween. Some people are crazy about Christmas. Some people are crazy about The Nightmare Before Christmas. Some people are crazy about Buffy the Vampire Slayer or The Vampire Diaries. Whatever you're crazy about, you deserve to be respected for it. And I just wish more people could understand that, understand where Freya is coming from, because Freya has experienced a lot of hurt, obviously, because of the message we get from this song. But because Freya's hurt, that doesn't give anybody the right to question who may have hurt Freya, Skye, because she's been hurt more than once. She's experienced a lot of pain, her fair share of it, and she's just letting you know how she feels about a certain situation and how it feels to be ghosted. Because for those of you who have yet to experience being ghosted, ghosted is one of the most painful things that anyone should ever have to go through. And all I've ever wanted each and every one of you to know is that you're good people and that you did nothing wrong. Because I know for sure there is somebody watching this video who has been ghosted, who has no explanation for the reason they feel the way they do, or any explanation having been offered to them or given to them why it happened to them. Obviously it's because of some reason that we are unaware of. We can't make sense of it. But you know something? You have really good friends in your lifetime. You also have a family that really loves you. And everything is going to be okay. No matter how that person made you feel, I just want to take a moment to say I'm sorry that he made you feel that way. He or she made you feel that way. But I want you to know that everything is going to be okay. And you are a wonderful person. And if you can relate to this song, then my heart goes out to each and every one of you and will forever and always remain with you, because I've got you when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, and I understand how a person feels or is made to feel about Descendants of Zombies from whatever song they may have been a fan of or drew inspiration from, because there are so many wonderful songs that have been celebrated because of Descendants of Zombies' legacy. There are so many wonderful songs that have yet to be celebrated because we have a new soundtrack premiering for Descendants 5 Book Wonderland, which I'm really excited about. Apparently Pink has her own song, and a remix of Life is Sweeter When You Are is in development. Of course, it's going to be performed by Liamani Segura and Kylie Control, which I'm really excited about. But you know something, guys? I think I would prefer Ruby Rose Turner's voice on this song, because if anything, Ruby really brought it to life. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, you're saying this about Ruby because Ruby is your favorite Descendants character. I know you. You love Ruby. Yeah, Ruby unquestionably touched my heart, and I've said nothing but nice things about Ruby because there's just a hope in my heart that hopefully one of these days your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars will see these videos and they will know how I feel about them, because I think that far too many people have never represented your favorite stars the way they have forever and always been meant to be represented. If you are passionate about collecting the Descendants of Zombies dolls, all the merch that goes with it, and that includes posters, that includes the dolls, because both Descendants of Zombies have beautiful dolls to be a part of your collection, I think you should remain forever and always passionate about it, because moments like these only happen once for every lifetime. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, what you got to tell me about Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland's release date? Because we're all YouTubing the release date of Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland. Well, because I'm just a fan like each and every one of you, all I know is that this movie's going to come sometime between now and July 2026. But you know something? Even though that feels like forever away, and especially when it comes to the release window of Zombies 5 that's been suggested not happening until 2028, I know what? Let me do this this way for you. 2028? Ah! 1 century later! Well, even if it is 1 century later, in the words of SpongeBob SquarePants, which is one of my all-time favorite cartoon characters, that doesn't mean that we can't get there. Descendants of Zombies will happen, and I forever and always wanted you to feel encouraged that Descendants of Zombies will happen, because I'm going to do everything in my power, even if that means to take bullets up against all these critics or each and every one of you, to showcase how a person truly feels about Descendants of Zombies, because nobody deserves to feel lost about Descendants of Zombies. Nobody ever deserves to have questions unanswered for how long they forever and always remain unanswered, because if a person is going to talk about Descendants of Zombies, they are going to show respect, or they should show respect at least, to your favorite stars that have made you fans of Descendants of Zombies, and all these moments that our legacies have been defined through. Because you see, I have never ever wanted to be forgotten. and I wanted to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. How I was going to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, I really never knew. But because it's become in the form of Descendants of Zombies, I think that's really cool, and because it has something to do with each and every one of you, I can never seem to thank you guys enough. So I will have a couple of new podcasts thrown up between now and sunset this evening. Keep watching for those videos to drop in my archives. By the way, guys, thank you so much from my heart to yours for watching this video. Hopefully this video has helped you make sense of everything going on in the lives of your favorite stars and what's happening to come forth for Descendants of Zombies, because we do have a future to talk about, and it's one to be incredibly excited about. Thank you guys so much for having watched this video. Don't forget to smash that like button and to ring my bell to stay up to date every single time that I upload a video about Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much for watching. You have been watching the latest episode of Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs, the only unofficial Descendants of Zombies podcast on YouTube. Thank you so much for having watched this video and believing in Descendants of Zombies most of all, more than you ever have. That truly means more to me than words could ever say.